Why don't I keep sleeping for a little while longer and forget all this foolishness? Oh God, what a demanding job I've chosen. Day in, day out on the road. The stresses of trade are much greater than the work going on at a head office. And in addition to that, I have to deal with the problems of traveling, the worries about train connections, irregular bad food, temporary and constantly changing human relationships, which never come from the heart. To hell with it all. This getting up early makes a man quite idiotic. A man must have his sleep. Other traveling salesmen live like harem women. For instance, when I come back to the inn during the course of the morning to write up the necessary orders, these gentlemen are just sitting down to breakfast. If I were to try that with my boss, I'd be thrown out on the spot. Still, who knows whether that might be really good for me if I didn't hold back for my parents' sake. I would have quit ages ago. I would have gone to the boss and told him just what I think from the bottom of my heart. He would have fallen right out of his desk. How weird is it to sit up at that desk and talk down to employees from way up there? The boss has trouble hearing, so the employees have to step quite close to him. Anyway, I haven't completely given up on hope yet. Once I've got together the money to pay off my parents' debt to him, that should take another 5 or 6 years. I'll do it for sure. Then I'll make my big break. In any case, right now I have to get up. My train leaves at 5 o'clock. Good God.
Krieger, it's 6:45. Don't you want to be on your way?
Yes, thank you, Mother. I'm getting up right away.
Gregor, what's going on in there?
Krieger, open the door, I beg you.
But I must not stay in bed uselessly. It's already 7 o'clock. Already 7 o'clock and still so much fog. Before it strikes 7:15, whatever happens, I must be completely out of bed. Besides, by then someone from the office will arrive to inquire about me, because the office will have opened before 7. That's someone from the office. They aren't opening. Something has fallen in there.
Krieger, it's 6:45. Don't you want to be on your way? Krieger, the manager is here.
Gregor, Mr. Manager has come and is asking why you have not left on the early train. We do not know what we should tell him. Besides, he always wants to speak to you personally. Please open the door. He will be good enough to forgive the mess in your room.
He's not well.
He is not well, believe me, Mr. Manager. Otherwise, how would Gregor miss a train? The young man has nothing in his expert business. I'm almost angry that he never goes out at night. Right now, he's been in the city 8 days, but he's been at home every evening. He sits there with us at the table and reads the newspaper quietly or studies his travel schedules. It's quite a diversion for him if he busies himself with freight work. For instance, he cuts out a small frame over the course of 2 or 3 evenings. You'd be amazed how petty he is. It's hanging inside the room. You'll see it immediately as soon as Gregor opens the door. Anyway, I'm happy that you're here, Mr. Manager. By ourselves, we would never have made Gregor open the door. He's so stubborn, and he's certainly not well, although he denied that this morning.
I'm coming right away.
So, can Mr. Manager come in and see you now?
No.
Mr. Samsa, what's the matter? You are barricading yourself in your room, answering with only a yes or no, or making serious and unnecessary troubles for your parents, and neglecting your commercial duties in a truly unheard of manner. I am speaking here in the name of your parents and your employer, and I am requesting you in all seriousness for an immediate and clear explanation. I am amazed. I am amazed. I thought I knew you as a calm, reasonable person, and now you appear suddenly to want to start parading around in weird moods. The chief indicated to me earlier this very day a possible explanation for your neglect. It concerned the collection of cash entrusted to your short while ago, but in truth, I almost gave him my word to honor that this explanation could not be corrected. However, now I see with your unimaginable pig-headedness, and I am truly losing any desire to speak up for you in the slightest. And your position is not at all the most secure. Originally, I intended to mention all this you privately, but since you are letting me waste my time here uselessly, I do not know why the matter should have come to the attention of your parents. Your productivity has always been very unsatisfactory recently. Of course, it's not the time of the year to conduct explanational business. We recognize that, but a time of year for conducting no business. There is no such thing at all, Mr. Samsa, and such a thing must never be heard.
But, Mr. Manager, I'm opening the door immediately. This very moment. A slight indisposition, a dizzy spell, has prevented me from getting up. I'm still laying in my bed right now, but now I'm quite refreshed once again. I'm in the midst of getting out of bed. Just be patient for a short moment. Things are not going so well as I thought, but things are all right now. How suddenly this can overcome someone. Just yesterday evening, everything was fine with me. My parents certainly know that. Actually, just yesterday evening, I had a small premonition. People must have seen that in me. Why have I not reported to the office? But people always think that they'll get better over sickness without having to stay home, Mr. Manager. Take it easy on my parents. There's really no bias for criticism, which you are now making against me, and really nobody has said a word to me about that. Perhaps you have to read the latest orders which I shipped. Besides, now I'm setting out on my trip on the 8 o'clock train. The few hours rest have made me stronger. Mr. Manager, do not stay. I will be at the office in person right away. Please have the goodness to say that and to convey my respects to the chief.
Did you understand a single word? He's playing us for a fool.
For God's sake, perhaps he's very ill and we're upsetting him. We must go to the doctor right away. Gregor is sick. Hurry to the doctor. Have you heard Gregor speak yet?
That was an animal's voice.
Honor. Fetch a locksmith right away.
Just listen for a moment. He's turning the key. Oh my.
Now I'll get dressed right away, pack up my collection of samples, and set off. You'll allow me to set on my way, will you not? You see, Mr. Manager, I am not pig-headed, and I am happy to work. Traveling is exhausting, but I couldn't live without it. A person can be incapable of work momentarily, but that is precisely the best time to remember the earlier achievements and to consider that later. After the obstacles have been shoved aside, the person will work all the more intensely. I am really so indebted to Mr. Chief. You know that perfectly well. On the other hand, I am concerned about my parents and my sister. I'm in a fix, but I'll work myself out of it again. Don't make things more difficult for me than they already are. Speak up on my behalf in the office. People don't like traveling salesmen. I know that. People think we earn pots of money and thus lead fine lives. People don't have any special reason to think through their judgment more clearly. But you, Mr. Manager, you have better perspective on the interconnections than other people. Even as I tell you in total confidence, a better perspective than Mr. Chairman himself, who in his capacity as the employer may let his judgment make casual mistakes at the expense of an employee. You also know well enough that the traveling salesman who is outside the office almost the entire year can become an easy victim of gossip, coincidence, and groundless compliments, against which is impossible for him to defend himself. Since for the most part he doesn't hear about them at all, and only when he's exhausted after finishing a trip and gets to feel his own body at home, the nasty consequences, which can't be thoroughly explored back to their origins. Mr. Manager, don't leave without speaking a word, telling me that you'll at least concede that I'm a little in the right.